Hello and welcome to the Rebirth Summit 2025 Stories of Unyielding Courage. I am Janine Emily Smith, host of the national TV show Rockstar Diaries Healing Out Loud and host of the Ride More with the Badass Lives podcast. And our signature formula, which is BADDASS, is an agnostic for bold enough to begin, audacious enough to dream, determined to rise, divine by design, aligned in purpose, strong in soul, so we can shine our light. I am your transformational speaker and story to stage guest coach. I help women rise, revive, thrive by transforming their stories into superpowers and their purpose into legacy, level, impact, influence, and income. I am so honored to be here as an interview for the International Summit featuring over 100 inspiring stories of transformation and rebirth. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Rozlan Luck. She is a powerhouse of resilience, faith, and leadership whose voice ignites transformation everywhere she enters. As the founder and CEO of the Power of You Academy, I can't even talk. She equips leaders, visionaries, and change agents to reclaim their confidence, set unshakable boundaries, and lead unapologetically. A survivor-turned-strategist, Rozlan has built her life's work on turning trauma into triumph through her signature CROWN, CROWN framework: confidence, resilience, optimism, willpower, and non-negotiables. I love that. She empowers individuals to rise from pain into purpose and from silence into strength. Her journey from brokenness to boldness has become a living testimony that healing and mastery are not only possible, but absolutely necessary to lead a life of extraordinary impact. Rozlan is also an author, speaker, ministry leader whose message blends spiritual depth, personal development, practical tools, and success. Whether on global stages and faith communities or through her written books, she challenges high-achieving women and men alike to step into the authority and embrace the power of self-leadership. Rozlan brings more than motivation. She brings a blueprint for breakthrough. Her stories prove that you don't just survive adversity, you can rise, rebuild, and reign with unshakable purpose. Let us welcome Rozlan Luck to the conversation. Hello, Rozlan.
Hello, how are you all?
You are amazing. That was joy to read about you. And I truly want to just start immediately at the beginning, what life was like before transformation. If you could describe the situation emotionally, mentally, spiritually, help us feel where you were.
Absolutely. So it felt like living inside a quiet storm, if you will. On the outside, everything looked like it was all together, well put, able to lead, able to function. But on the inside, it was like a small tornado, and it was literally tearing me apart. Emotionally, I carried a heavy stillness, if you will, functioning but not free. Every day was about managing triggers. However, I didn't know what a trigger was at that moment. So I couldn't name it. I couldn't put a name on it, but I knew it was a tone. I knew that it could be a slammed door. I knew it could be silence that maybe stretched out too long, but I didn't know it as a trigger. And all of those things were reminders of what had happened to me, or reminders of every punch, every hit, every kick, every body slam. So I buried myself. I learned how to bury myself in achievement. I learned how to bury myself in what I thought was purpose.
Mm.
Mentally, let's say I lived in fragments, right? Spiritually, I was torn between belief and brokenness because I knew who God was, but I wasn't sure if He knew me. So before transformation, I would sum it up as I existed in pieces. A woman rebuilding her life, but still bleeding internally, if you will, suppressed, but feeling that I had to be seen. I had to be out there so that I wouldn't be considered as hiding. Um, Healing didn't really start when the abuse ended. It started when I stopped pretending that it was okay.
Wow, powerful. I can resonate with so much of what you're saying, and I love functioning, but not free.
Right.
That right there speaks volumes. So, was there a specific breaking or turning point? What was the major moment that forced change? Or can you walk us through what happened?
So it wasn't like all at once. As I said, it was fragmented. So it arrived in little pieces.
Hmm.
It came quietly. It wasn't like a bright light that came on and I was healed. It was moments that seemed small until they weren't, right? It
Hmm.
was the day I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize who was looking back at me.
Oh.
It was the day that I felt like I was disappearing. I was becoming invisible. The
Mhm.
turning point came when silence became too heavy for me to carry. I could no longer just keep quiet. I remember standing at home and just feeling unseen, feeling in a crowd of people like I was the only one there. And it was chaos in the house because it was like a birthday party or some event we were having, but I felt like it was utter silence all around me. So I knew then that I was mentally exhausted. I was replaying every insult, every moment, everything, and it was never ending. So spiritually, I began to understand that God's deliverance sometimes starts with divine disruption.
Mhm.
Remember, I said I didn't say or I didn't really know who God was at that point, but I just knew that there was something more. So I left, not just physically, I left emotionally and spiritually. I left the guilt, I left the need to explain, the belief that endurance was godliness. Being quiet was being submissive. So I started choosing healing over hiding. And that was my breaking point, really. Uh, the breaking point is the day I stopped asking for peace from people who kept stealing it. Uh, and I started asking God to restore me, and I started building a relationship with Him.
Amazing. So many golden nuggets. You had knowledge, but you actually built relationship, the inner part of it. You've already started talking about some of the internal process. Can you guide us a little bit more through how that transformation felt like from the inside? Just a little bit more.
I want to say, and I've never not been able to breathe, but if you've ever had an asthma attack, it's like getting that breath back, learning how to breathe again, learning how to be comfortable and not awkward when you take a deep breath. So until the rhythm of survival turned into a rhythm of life, it was a bit of a struggle. Um, at first, it didn't feel like it was godly or God was in it. It felt hard. There was fear in the quietness
Hmm.
because that was my safety. So when things got quiet, I felt like, baby, I'm backtracking. I felt like it meant that I had to face everything that I had packed away, if you will. I use the analogy when you go on vacation and you pack this bag and some of us overpack. When we get back, we just sit it to the side, but that luggage doesn't unpack itself. And that dirty laundry doesn't wash itself. So I had to internalize all of that and unpack that luggage. And I wrestled with guilt. I wrestled with shame. Why did I stay so long? I asked a lot of questions. But somewhere in the middle of all that, something sacred began to happen to me and for me. I stopped running from me. I began journaling again, not for anyone else, though. I started doing things for myself. And I gave up my pain language. And I started to speak affirming things to myself. I started being more inquisitive about therapy. I didn't join it right away, but because it was frowned upon back then, and it wasn't a go-to. You don't hear it as much as you hear it now. Something was wrong with you if you had to go through therapy, and it wasn't a good thing. So um, I learned what triggers were, and I learned that unhealed people bleed on other people. So I began setting boundaries, not pushing people away, um, but to protect the peace that I was learning how to build, I guess.
Mm. Hurt people, hurt people.
Absolutely.
Oh, and I love your analogy of the going on a trip and your luggage. That I like visuals, and that really spelled it out. So thanks for sharing that. You have mentioned God and faith. Is there something, someone, or something else that you mentioned that supported you during this journey?
I would say not in the beginning. In the beginning, it was just me because I didn't understand why I had allowed this to happen to me. So it was a quiet place for me. No one knew. I didn't share. I didn't confide. It was just me, me and my tears, in my quiet place. But eventually, I met one who is called Charles Luck, and he's my husband. And he married me in my mess, and he helped me unpack that luggage, and he really introduced me to God. I knew who God was, as I said, but I didn't feel like he knew me. So he introduced me to the true God, the one that we all know as a loving God, as a forgiving God. So I had no circle, no counselor. No one truly knew the depth of what I endured until I met Charles. And he uh, then in turn introduced me to God in the right way. So I would say slowly I began to heal through that, through him and God. And a little bit by little bit, I let my family in. Therapy became a ritual for me. Inspirational counseling from pastor. And it just began to unravel some things that were buried deep, and some things that I thought I had unpacked, but that were still deep down inside that I didn't want to relive, but I did. I had to revisit some things.
Congratulations on Charles. That's his name, right? How long
Yes,
have you been married?
27 years.
Congratulations. Oh my goodness. So describe where you're at with your journey now. What does it feel like? What is the change? What change?
That's the most exciting part for me because I stand now on the other side of through. And what does that look like for a survivor? That looks like the things that try to silence me are now the things that I stand on, that I help someone else through. Not as a woman who survived, but as a woman that's rising, right? So it feels like being finally rooted, intentional, anchored. Um, in my truth, right?
Mhm.
A lot of times when you're surviving some type of trauma, you feel like it was all you, and it's so shameful. It's so shameful. For right now, I stand boldly. I can finally tell my story without tears. I
Oh.
can finally say to someone else, it's going to be okay, girl. It's going to be okay. And I really believe it, because there was a time when I would say it's going to be okay, but I truly didn't believe in my heart of hearts that you could make it out okay. So spiritually, I walk with a deeper awareness of God's hand in every chapter of my life. I put him first in everything. I no longer question why he allowed certain things to happen to me. I recognize that he was preserving me. And if I didn't go through what I went through, then I wouldn't be able to help the women that I've helped along the way. My relationship with him has shifted from, remember, I said healing became ritualistic.
Yes.
It's now relationship, right? It's relationship where it is my refuge and my reason, and not my escape.
Powerful. I mean, so many golden nuggets, and I see you on this huge stage ministering to so many survivors. How are you using your experience to help others, your business, your mission?
Today, I do everything that I do, every word that I speak, every program I build, every book that I am writing and have written is rooted in the redemption of what I've been through. So my pain became a blueprint for my purpose, and my survival became the foundation of what my assignment is.
Hmm.
So, what once felt like a silent struggle has now evolved into a global mission for me of empowerment,
Hmm.
healing, and leadership. I'm a founder, as you spoke, of CEO of Power of You Academy, a personal and spiritual development platform where it's designed to help women, especially survivors, female survivors, and leaders that of those that's rebuilding from brokenness,
Mm.
reclaiming their confidence, resilience, optimism, power, and non-negotiables that we talked about. Through this work, I teach that I had to learn the hard way, but you don't have to, right? That healing and leadership are not opposites. They're one and the same, right? They're partners, if you will. I show women how to move from survival strategy, from trauma to transformation,
Mhm.
from silence to strength, certain things like that. And using my voice right now, I once wish someone would have used theirs for me.
Mm.
I once wished that someone could have saw what was happening when I didn't share or couldn't share and would have shared with me those things. So my life work is proof that what tried to destroy me has now become a platform for me. And it developed me to be able to help someone else through to the other side.
That is amazing. I loved your statement. Your pain became a blueprint for your purpose, and that healing and leadership go hand in hand.
Mhm.
It is so true. That is really, really powerful. So last question, if there's somebody out there that's stuck or in pain, what message, what golden nuggets do you have for that one person?
To the one still stuck, still hurting, still trying to make sense of the pieces, hear me clearly. You're not broken beyond repair. I know what it feels like to smile through pain, to keep functioning when your heart is in fragments, to convince yourself that silence is safer than honesty. I know what it feels like to hide bruises, not only physically, but on your soul,
Mhm.
that no one can see. But I also know this, the version of you that's now surviving right now, you're just surviving, or you think you're just surviving. It's not the final version of who you are.
Mm.
It's not the final version of who you're meant to be. You don't have to figure it all out today, but you do have to start. Not tomorrow, not next month, not next week. Start today. Start right now. Give yourself permission to heal. Even if no one else understands you, start with honesty. Whisper to yourself, it's my truth. It's my story. One day you'll wake up and you'll realize you didn't have to survive. And you didn't just survive, you rose. And when you do that, you'll look back and you'll see that every tear had purpose, every scar held wisdom, and every moment you thought you were buried, you were actually being rooted and planted.
Ah, thank you, Robin. I'm trying to stop the tear so it doesn't mess up my makeup. That you
It's okay.
is
It's okay.
it's okay. The tears are okay. Thank you for sharing your heart and your powerful story. Your journey is such a beacon of hope. And this has been another incredible conversation with Rozlan on the Rebirth Summit 2025 Stories of Unyielding Courage. I'm Janine Emily Smith, your transformation speaker and story to stage goddess coach. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for more incredible speaker and stories. It surely has been an honor to host this interview as part of the global movement for healing and transformation. This is Rebirth TV signing off.
Thank you so much.